I'm Chris Hanna from All About Scuba. We've been a dive shop, a full-service dive shop now for 7 years. Working on year number 7. We started this business to share scuba and the excitement of scuba with our friends.
My name is Brandon Arnovic. We're at Mission Minis, 3168 22nd Street in the Mission, between Mission and Cap. And I started this bakery just about 2 years ago. I had a big interest in getting involved in the culinary arts, and cupcakes is just kind of where I landed.
My name is Margaret Wade. We're here at Brennan's Restaurant in Berkeley. We're a sports bar and Hofbrau restaurant that started in 1959 by my grandfather. My grandfather was a general contractor most of his life, and he had retired and had gotten bored, so he started building the restaurant. And on his 69th birthday in 1959, he opened the restaurant and bar, even though he had absolutely no experience in the restaurant business.
I first heard about Groupon, I saw it on the web, and then one of our reps came to me and shared a story about one of his vendors down south that did it and had a good return on it, and said it was a great idea. And you know, I trusted his judgment, and he recommended it. He said, go ahead and make the move. So that's what we did. Contacted Groupon, and the ball rolled from there.
It was one of those things that was the latest buzz of what's happening in the new world of e-commerce and technology. Someone I know who's a business person suggested to me that I should look into it, just because he had heard a lot of good buzz about it and about having good results for businesses who tried it. So we decided to go ahead and give it a whirl.
Groupon called me and they were like, hey, we are an online coupon company. We want to run a Groupon for you, and here's what it does. They kind of sold me on it by saying this other cupcakery that did it, sold like 3,000 orders in one day. And at the time, we were maybe a company for 3, 5, 7 months, really young still. I had never heard of Groupon, and I was like, great, let's do it, dude. Like, we need to get on the map. I'd love to. And, immediately upon doing it, it was like, going down a very fast roller coaster in learning about this whole daily deal world.
We did half off on Tri-Scuba, so it was buy one, get one free. And what we do is they show up at the pool, we get them lined up, we give them a rundown on how the equipment works, show them gear head to toe, we get them in the water, fit them all up, make sure that they're comfortable, start the process of just having them breathe on the equipment, then progress to breathing underwater and playing around and having a good time.
The deal went live, and I was just sitting by the computer watching how many we're selling all day. I was like, oh, this is so awesome. Like, look how many people love us and are gonna learn about it, and like Mission Minis all the way, and they're seeing the logo and they're tasting the cupcake. And by the end of the day, we had sold 3,200 plus deals. And the deal was for 24 cupcakes. So if you check out all those numbers and you add it all up, it's basically like 72,000 cupcakes worth of cupcakes that we sold in one day. 3 days of craziness happened after the Groupon deal ran. So crazy baking, crazy people coming down and just like, I printed out my deal, I want it right now. Oh, you ran out of red velvet? I'm so pissed, I'm gonna give you a bad Yelp review, or I'm gonna cry in your storefront, or I'm gonna yell. And it's like, dude, we bake these every day fresh. Bakers working overtime, complaining, saying, I hate this, why'd you do that deal thing, it's killing us. Getting some bad reviews on Yelp because they came into the store and the line was too long, or we didn't have their flavor, or we had some of their flavors but not all of them, or my employee was so stressed that he wasn't super friendly and just was like, what do you need? Oh God, it's been so crazy all day. We had this line of people, and then we'd sell out at noon, and then my tried and true good just neighborhood customers would try and come get cupcakes, and we didn't have any. So I guess that's one of the other not so awesome parts about it all.
The Groupon we offered was $20 worth of food for $10. Groupon gets to keep half of the revenues from the sale, so Groupon gets to keep $5. But Groupon also then leaves the service charge for the credit card that the customer used to purchase the Groupon from Groupon. Those fees, transaction fees, are then passed along to the merchant. So for each Groupon that was sold, instead of us getting $5, we got $4.63 for $20 worth of food. So that's less than 25%. So we are not covering our food cost. Groupon likes to say that people will become repeat customers. And one of the downsides about Groupon that I didn't like is that they allow each of their Groupon members to purchase a deal for themselves and to purchase up to 2 more deals, which they say are to be given away as gifts. And as far as we can tell, the majority of people, the overwhelming majority of people who bought more than one Groupon have used them all themselves. Some of them even to the point where they're trying to argue with us that they should be allowed to use all 3 Groupons at one time on one transaction. We have to explain to them that that clearly violates the terms that are written on the front of the Groupons they're trying to hand us. Are you really becoming a repeat customer, or are you now becoming a customer who's unwilling to pay regular 100% prices for what we have to offer?
Each Groupon that we did in the Sacramento and the Napa and in the East Bay, we did over 100 folks in each. So that, just based on 100 people, that's 200 people because it's buy one, get one free. I'd say it's a good success. I'm meeting a lot of folks that, in a variety of demographics that I didn't think we'd be able to touch, and a lot farther reach than we've been able to do just by all the advertising that we've done so far. Our whole goal is to share scuba with people. I believe everybody can dive. So it's just getting it triggered in their brain, letting them know that they can do it.
I think they're worth it if you advertise. Say I had a budget of $500 a month to advertise, I would recommend letting the daily deal be your loss leader pay for your product that you're losing versus buying a quarter page ad in the weekly, which are $465. And now what we've learned to do is just slate them one every 3 months, And I do look at it like I'm buying an ad. So you make sure the fine print is not so fine, it's very large, and it says call 48 hours in advance, and whatever you order, it's gonna be, you can place your order for 2 dozen for your deal, but we're gonna pick the flavors. I gotta be honest with you, I have a great taste in my mouth after it, and I have a very positive experience with it. Granted, along the way, there were not so positive elements to it all, but it's a force to be reckoned with, this whole daily deal thing and Groupon specifically. And it can really help businesses, and it can also really hurt businesses.
It was an okay experience. I think the one thing I don't like about Groupon, which is not particularly their fault, is the state law that requires that you honor the coupon forever. So right now we have a list next to our cash register that has the Groupon ID numbers, and even though the Groupon expired 3 weeks ago, we still have about 250 names on that list of people who haven't redeemed their Groupon. So that list will have to live next to our cash register forever. I mean, conceivably forever, because no doubt there are going to be some people who've given up or who've lost their Groupon, whatever. They're never going to come in to redeem it, but as long as there's still a coupon number on our list, we have to be prepared to honor it. We've been asked by Groupon to participate again in another Groupon, and we've decided not to do that at this time. More than anything, I'm reluctant to get involved in having yet more lists of people that we have to keep track of, because every time we do one of these offers, then we would have to keep track of the deal, and presumably we'd have to keep track of that deal forever. And at what point do we now have 7 different lists that the employees have to look through to figure out whether or not they're being handed a valid deal? Logistically, it just becomes a nuisance. And we're not convinced that the payoff has been sufficient to the point where it's worth continuing basically giving away our profit to Groupon.